Hi everyone, this is Sam with Wine News in 5. Before I get to global news, a bit of team news. On Tuesday, July 8th, the finalists for 67 Pall Mall's Global Wine Communicator Awards were announced. Yours truly is a finalist for the Berkman Award for Best All-Around Wine Communicator, in large part because of this newscast. And our editor, Julia Harding MW, is a finalist for the Gusborne Award for Best Global Wine Communicator in Long-Form Writing for her piece on the resurgence of Pico's magnificent wines. In addition, one of our longtime contributors, Arnica Rowan, is a finalist in the same category for her story on the use of horses in vineyards. I'm going to link the full list of finalists in the transcript of this newscast, and I highly recommend you go read, watch, and listen to their work. The winners will be announced on September 5th in London. A huge thank you to 67 Pall Mall for putting on these awards and to everyone who served as a judge. Congratulations to all the finalists. In terms of global news, today I have more information on Vietnam's tax hike, then we'll discuss hail and fires in France, the shuttering of an organic certification body in Australia, Burgundian investment in the UK, and Dr. Richard Smart's passing. First up, Vietnam's tax hike. Thank you to news listener Long P. Vo, who works as a consultant in Vietnam's food processing and manufacturing industry, for writing in with additional information on Vietnam's tax hike. On June 27th, I reported a rise in the country's consumption tax from 65% to 90% by 2031. That rise, Vo clarified, applies to beer and to beverages over 20% ABV. With the exception of beer, beverages under 20% ABV will go from a consumption tax of 35% to 60%. This will be accomplished with a 5% hike per year starting in January. Since the Europe-Vietnam Free Trade Agreement went into effect in 2020, customs duties on EU products have gone from nearly 44% to 12.5%, and they'll drop to 0% by 2027. It's possible that Vietnam's consumption tax increase is meant to offset the lost revenue from tariffs. Because tariffs were incorporated into wine prices, their elimination will somewhat offset the new consumption tax. While wine prices are expected to be less than they were pre-free trade agreement, they will be higher than they are at present. On to hail and fires in France. On June 25th, hailstorms hit the Loire-et-Cher department of France, which is home to a significant number of Tourain's vineyards in the central Loire Valley. In Courcheverny, winegrower Laurent Pasquier reported to Vitisphere that 80% of his 15 hectares, 37 acres, were damaged. In Valençay, 90% of vineyards were affected. Then on July 7th, hail damaged vineyards in the communes of Pouillat and Maril. Meanwhile, fires are raging across southern France from Narbonne to Marseille. On Saturday, July 5th, a fire broke out in the Corbière region near Narbonne, burning approximately 500 hectares, which is over 1,200 acres. On Monday, July 7th, another fire broke out in the region and spread across 2,000 hectares, which is nearly 5,000 acres overnight. 5 firefighters and 5 civilians were injured. On Tuesday, July 8th, a fire started north of Marseille and spread rapidly to cover 700 hectares, 1,700 acres, injuring 110 people. Fires are burning all along the coast between the cities, and while the extent of the damage to vineyards is unclear, it is clear that wine growers are affected. Chateau La Baronne's Instagram says they have lost 30 to 35 hectares to the fire. La Croix-Gratio between Montagnac and Pinay has lost 5 hectares. Thank you to news listener Julio G. Patino for bringing this to my attention. If anyone has any other information, please email news@jancesrobinson.com. Next, the shuttering of an organic certification body in Australia. On June 26th, the National Association for Sustainable Agriculture Australia, NASAA, ceased certifying organic and biodynamic farms. On July 2nd, the Department of Agriculture, Fisheries and Forestry declared that goods from any farms who had been certified under NASAA were no longer certified to the National Organic Standard. As a result, anyone who was about to export organic agricultural goods was no longer eligible to do so. Farms wishing to retain their organic status must apply for a limited extension of their National Organic Standard certification through a different organic certifying body, and they must make the transition to a new certifying body by the time their current certification expires or by September 26th. If they don't, they'll have to restart the 3-year process required for organic certification. None of the announcements related to the closure of the NASAA explains what happened, but let's think about what this means. NASAA was responsible for certifying approximately 400 businesses who were growing or manufacturing organic products. Australia had a total of 3,035 certified organic businesses in 2024. So 13% of the country's total organic businesses are now without a certifier. There are only 4 organic certifiers remaining in Australia. Somehow, each of these is expected to balloon operations enough in the next 11 weeks to get through a raft of paperwork for anxious business owners trying not to lose their certification. Phil Tabor, owner of Blewett Springs Wine Company in McLaurinville, told the Advertiser, having to go through another audit, soil test, and then wait another 3 years to get that certified, that's a worst case scenario. On to Burgundian investment in the UK. Thank you to the team at Danebury Ridge, based in Essex's Crouch Valley, for sending news of their partnership with Burgundy's Domaine de Roche, based in Gevrey-Chambertin. These 2 estates will partner to create a limited release Pinot Noir made from the Danebury Ridge estate vineyards. This is the first time a Burgundy estate has invested in producing English wine. The first wines will be available in 2028. Finally, Dr. Richard Smart's passing. The renowned viticulturalist Dr. Richard Smart, co-author of the seminal text Sunlight into Wine, a handbook for wine grape canopy arrangement, as well as being a long-standing contributor and advisor for viticultural entries in the Oxford Companion to Wine, passed away on July 2nd. Julia and Jancis have written a moving tribute to him that emphasizes his outsized role in transforming vineyards around the world. You can read that on our site. You can also read more about him in remembrance from readers posted on our forum. That's all for this episode of the Wine News. If you enjoy this newscast and you'd like to see it continue, please become a member at jancisrobinson.com. And if you have breaking news in your area, please email news@jancisrobinson.com. Thanks.